And we're starting a process called the Will of the People Project. And as you can see on the screen, I invite you to go ahead and take a look at the website, willofthepeopleproject.net. This is what we call the front end. Again, as we were talking, the people that were involved in creating the Global Call for Collaboration, which is about a 99-page document. It's a must-read for people that want to be part of this and get on that same frequency and make things happen with this process. It was brought up, as I said before, that this cannot just be the hardware. This cannot just be the software. There has to be more to this. And so what the Will of the People Project does, it allows us to have a front end. A front end that is user-friendly, a front end that every community around the world can use as a community, as the entryway, as the portal into this system. Each community can populate that website, the Will of the People Project website, any way they wish. They can put forums on there, issues, and display any organizations, anything, the latest news in town, anything that's going to be part of that process, that front door that's going to make it a very friendly, welcome environment for people to come in, share their feelings, share their frustrations, share their emotions, and simply connect the community together. And when the community reaches a point where they have talked an issue to death and really have been inclusive in that process, and they know that they can really address the issue, then they can go to the back end, which is the United People decision-making process. And that what's important is to develop a template here in the Byron Shire so that we can then use that template to duplicate the process from community to community around the world. The question is how do we activate the collective sovereignty? The Global Call for Collaboration goes through a number of steps concerning education, identification, qualification, affiliation, activation, policy implementation, and then the conglomeration process. But getting right down to it, what we have to do is we have to mature as a community, every community, realizing that up to this point, very few people we have allowed to make decisions for us. And now with the technology at our disposal, we can organize ourselves as communities and be able to make decisions on our own. If the government recognizes us as the highest authority, and they're based on everything they do is based on the will of the people, we now have the opportunity to create and project that will and deliver it to them. The only thing that remains is to answer two questions, really. Is that for each community to mature into this process, to develop an understanding of how do we develop the will of the people. Say in this area in the Byron Shire, it has a reputation of having a lot of intelligent people here, but there's a lot of argument, there's a lot of debate, and it seems like it's extremely difficult to come to any decisions. But what's important to understand is that this is a maturing process, and so if we can't do this here in the Byron Shire, we can't do it anywhere, I don't think. So what's important to do is to answer two questions, and that is, how many people in the Byron Shire, that has a population of around 30,000 people, how many people would be required to come out and participate in an issue? And out of those that participate in the issue, what percentage of those would actually have to say yes to a proposal before that can be considered the will of the people? For example, if there are 30,000 people here in this shire, if 1,000 people came out and participated in an issue, maybe that would mean that would give it legitimacy. And out of those, if we say, well, 50% of them, maybe 500 people say yes to a particular proposal, then we all would be comfortable saying that that's what we accept as the will of the people. Keep in mind that we live in a society, such as in the Byron Shire, that we have 9 councillors that have made all of our decisions here in the past. Also keep in mind that we live in a society that has decided to give the authority to 12 people who sit on a jury in a court of law to make life and death decisions. To put this on an Australia-wide basis, if only 1% of the people of Australia, that's my friends, my neighbors, my countrymen, come out to deal with one issue. Australia has a population of 20 million people. 1% is 200,000 people. Now my question is, do I have more faith and trust in 200,000 of my own neighbors and countrymen than I do the 225 that sit in the Parliament in Canberra? So this is the thought process that we need to start thinking about, is that what actually results in the will, something being the will of the people. This is something that the United People Virtual World Government Trust is starting to bring to the attention of the world, to every community in the world, so that those basic 2 questions can be answered, and that's where it all starts. Because if a community can't establish how many people it takes to establish the will of the people, then you get politicians that will say that the people can't do it themselves and we have to do it for them. And that's when they reach into their magic box somehow, some way. Nobody knows how they do this, but they determine what the will of the people is, and they let us know. So it's very important to establish that. So we have the education process, and we have to develop the trust. We have to trust in ourselves. And I don't think it's very difficult to develop that trust in ourselves, because we've simply trusted too few people in the past. And since 1774 up till now, people that have been carrying this knowledge of what it takes to have a government of, by, to, for, and from the people, it basically boils down to kitchen table sustainability. And that's where someone by the name of Wendy Sarkisian comes into play, because she's a local author that has written Kitchen Table Sustainability, and she'll be making presentations at our markets in the Byron Shire concerning how we need to organize as communities. Just a real rough outline on how we make decisions on the United People Trust. We again use all the methods we have in the past. We'll sit around our kitchen tables. We'll discuss the issues. We'll go to the pubs. We'll go to the cafes. We'll go to dinner parties. We'll go to public meetings. But when it's all said and done, we have the technology online that's available 24/7 that each one of us can go and use without interruption, without being bullied, and be able to participate and help arrive at a final decision. One of the things that here's just a list of how the process works. It's any community can create an issue. There's a discussion period, and this is when we're ready to actually get into the nuts and bolts of making a decision. Propositions can be submitted, and the community can help fine-tune and choose the best one, and then it's presented to the whole community, and then there's a final vote.